I've chosen a great closing story today. The name of the book is We Are Gardeners. We Are Gardeners. That's a pretty official title, but we didn't start out that way. Just like our garden, we started small and grew from there. Some say that a garden just grows from a seed, but I think it grows from trying and failing and trying again. A garden is hard work, but so is most of the good, important stuff of life. Our family's garden story began with one small potted fern. Dad stumbled upon it in a hardware store when he ran in for some supplies. He said it was just too cute to leave behind, and he thought it would make Mom smile, and it did. We chose a sunny windowsill for the pretty little fern. It seemed like a good, safe place for him to grow. This was back when we were little kids, but we still remember visiting that plant each day to give him a drink, and sometimes we'd even whisper to him a bit. And then, plot twist. Out of nowhere, the fern died. Death by overhydration. That's just a fancy way of saying we gave him way too much water. Looking back, each one of us must have watered him every day. That's a lot to drink for a little plant. By mistake, we loved the plant to death. Some people tell themselves they were no good at something after one small failure. But no chance were we going to give up that easy. So we checked out some books from the library, and we found out that ferns can be tricky and prefer to live in shady spots. Apparently, a plant's leaves can communicate to us what they are needing. We also learned that most plants have good manners and like to sip, not gulp. Lesson learned. Dad got us a fresh fern, and with it came fresh hope. This time, we set the pot on our piano, away on the other side of the room, where the sun wouldn't give it too much attention. We made a watering schedule and took turns saying a lot of nice things to our little sprout of a plant. The fern number 2 lived and thrived and grew. And finally, Mom got him a little potted friend, and then another, and then one or two more. And we noticed that all that talking to our plant actually helped them grow bigger and stronger, so we added in some jokes into the mix and songs. Unlike when we overwatered, 0 plants died from us talking too much. Pretty soon, plants were taking over the house, and Dad said it was time to graduate to outdoor gardening. Mom was excited about the new outdoor garden as we were, and she started talking about it with a dreamy look in her eyes. And then Dad called a family meeting so we could come up with some real plans. We all gathered around the kitchen table and got to work dreaming, planning, and drawing things out. We knew we needed a sunny place, a place where plants could sunbathe for at least 6 hours a day. We would be red as radishes if we did that, but plants just love it. And more than that, they need it. In the garden, there is no life without light. Dad always says that the foundation is the most important thing when it comes to building a house. A house can't be strong if it's built on something weak, and the same holds true with a garden. So to make the foundation of our garden strong, we filled it with something called soil, good soil, which includes a tiny bunch of living things called organisms. And they can grow things in it. That's pretty amazing when you stop to think about it. A whole hidden world of life is happening beneath our feet. Just because you can't see a good thing with your eyes doesn't mean they're not there. And another cool thing about soil is that it feeds and strengthens the seeds we sow. And then, like a miracle, plants and flowers burst out from the ground. We also knew we needed our garden to have plenty of water. Rain is the very best thing for plants to drink, but it's hard to know when and if the rain is coming. So a couple of other options to keep plants hydrated are to collect rainwater, or use sprinkler or garden hose to get the job done. Once we had a location and plenty of sun and good soil and watering plan, we got right to work. First things first, seeds. The most fun part of planting our garden was deciding what to plant. We started with foods that we like to eat, like strawberries, tomatoes, and then we chose pretty flowers to keep them company. The thing about seeds is that they are everyday miracles. Everything a plant needs to grow is already hidden inside a seed. We chose flowers like zinnias, sunflowers, and cosmos so that pollinators would come visit our garden. Butterflies, hummingbirds, and bees spread pollen around from flower to flower, encouraging even more blossoms. We like knowing that the little helpers are out there in nature working with us to help the garden grow. The bees must have put the word out that we had plenty of good things going, because sure enough, all sorts of other critters started to arrive. We quickly found out that there are 3 types of bugs in our backyard: good, bad, and the ugly. Let's start with the worst part. It's a pretty sad day when aphids arrive. They are some of the most well-known villains in the gardening world. They suck the life right out of your plants, but then ladybugs showed up and ate those pesky little aphids for lunch. Ladybugs are a sure part of the hero camp, bravely protecting our plant friends from harm. And we've got to tell you about earthworms. They are like the secret agents of the garden. Earthworms eat all of the dead things like old roots and leaves and turn them into life for the soil. Every time we find one, we would all high-five and celebrate. They're pretty, they aren't pretty, but who cares? They're awesome, and we love seeing them hard at work. I like the secret agent coat. We realized pretty quickly that we needed to keep the weeds out. They are the true bullies of a garden. Weeds try to steal water, sunlight, nutrients from the fruits and veggies, And it's our jobs to make sure those little rascals don't take over. If we ignore the garden too long, the weeds run wild and hurt our beloved plants. It's so much easier to just do a little bit every day. We were officially gardeners and had a real-life garden to prove it. The garden became our pride and joy. Day in, day out, we tended our plants, making sure they got plenty of sun and water. Every time a new plant sprouted up from the ground, our excitement grew right along with it. As time passed, our garden grew bigger, and so did our family. When our garden was finally in full bloom and growing tall, we ran through the aisles and watched the butterflies flutter around us. But one day, when we were in mid-skip, we noticed some trespassers helping themselves to lunch. And by lunch, we mean half the garden. The animals may look cute and innocent, but some have a sneaky side, and they can wipe out a garden in no time flat. The chickens ate the vegetables. The goats ate Mom's roses, and the bunnies, they weren't picky at all. They ate everything in sight. Saying goodbye to that many happy plants was even harder than throwing away our first dead fern. We debated if we should give up. Was it really worth it to start all over again? And then we remembered one important detail. We are gardeners. It was our responsibility not only to grow this garden, but also to protect it. So we put a little fence to keep the animals out and got to work to rebuild our garden. It didn't take long to get our plants and flowers growing tall again. And to this day, our very favorite days are when we get to gather fruits of our labor. Mom loves to set the table with pretty flowers in every color you can imagine. We help her dream up recipes for the foods we have grown. Sometimes we see all the beauty laid out and we can't believe our hands helped bring it to life. It makes all that hard work worth it. It keeps us coming back day after day, season after season. We still keep a little fern on our piano to remind us of our small beginnings. Every time we water it, we remember not to give up on things we remember not to give up when things don't work out the first time. Because the thing is, whether one potted fern dies or half the garden is wiped out by little critters, every failure or setback teaches us something. Dad says that very hard things we choose to do make us braver for the next time. And there's so many lessons waiting to be learned and a whole world of gardening ready to bloom. We are gardeners, and you can be too. Thank you for listening to We Are Gardeners, and I'll be seeing you tomorrow morning. Be ready with your beanbag. We have to dance.